hell? Are you lit as hell?
Oh, well, if you're asking if I'm several beers deep at this point, then I am. Hang on.
I was going to say, I am actually rocking a different Japanese beer today. Sapporo Black.
Sapporo Black.
A perfectly balanced blend of roasted dark malt with refined hops bitterness. This is one bold lager with an uncommon taste. They've called it like almost like a dark lager or like a black lager, mainly because they stopped selling the other Sapporo because there was only one dickhead buying it.
Which is by any chance you?
Yeah, he literally said that to me, and then they got a case of this to try, so he bought it in and thought I would like it. Is my video a bit better? Like, do I look like I have more colour?
Yeah, it is, but I can't. What the fuck's happened with my camera?
Oh, that has like caramel overtones. It's quite gorgeous.
Caramel overtones. Yeah, you thought, oh fuck it, what's this?
It's not as nice as Sapporo, but I mean it's like the original Sapporo, but I don't mind it.
Oh, God, I'm tired.
Already, it's like isn't it like 9 o'clock?
Exhausted.
That's all right, mate. We'll do this quick. We'll give our readers the love they deserve, and then you can get tucked into Betty Pies.
You have no idea. I've had a week. I am drained, brother.
Well, do the intro and tell us all about it.
Dorks Down Under.
What episode are we on?
6, I think.
6.
Because I think I do every second one, and I've done 4.
Yes. So anyway. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under, the podcast where me and an Australian get together and we basically discuss everything dorkdom that is going on in the world, as well as what's been going on with our week. You can find us available on Spotify, as well as YouTube and various other amazing podcast platforms, ladies and gentlemen. I can't speak today. And if you want to follow us, you can find us available on socials, which is at TikTok and X at Dorks Down Under. This is season 3, episode 6. We have no idea what we're going to discuss this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
there's been one of those weeks where there's a lot of stuff going on, but not specifically one big thing has took over. So we're probably just going to ramble.
I don't know, because there has been a movie that we are going to speak about that I'm hella excited for because I love the series.
Funnily enough, after literally messaging you that, I did actually think, oh, there is another movie I do want to discuss as well. So yeah, so we've got a couple of movies to discuss that I'm looking forward to.
New Barbie 2?
Oh yeah. How did you know?
That's what friends are for. But no.
Before we get to that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to check in with how is my Australian counterpart, Dez? How are you doing?
I'm feeling incredibly manly. So I messaged Jordan yesterday saying I'm feeling incredibly manly. So last week we went shopping. I lifted my boot up. For anybody in America, that's a trunk, and the trunk almost decapitated me.
It almost decapitated you.
So you know how they have the gas struts that lift up or that assist when you lift up the trunk.
Yeah.
It just died. Both of them just died. Which I've been told. So when I went searching on the internet, supposedly it happens a fair bit, where when the struts just give up, they just go, eh. The other one goes, well, I can't handle the whole thing, so eh. And then they just die. So to the point where you lift it up, and if you didn't hold that, it comes smashing down like there was no things.
Jesus.
So I spoke to my mechanic, and he's like, oh yeah, we can get that done. It's about $300 to $370.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, because you got to obviously get them off and put new ones on and stuff. I went onto YouTube, I found a video, and the guy's like, oh, just put a screwdriver in here, and it's just a little ball joint that you pop out. And I was like, really?
Correct.
And then you pop out the top one. And I was like, sweet. He's like, I left the link in Amazon where my one was. It took me to the American Amazon, but then when I just typed the same fitting into the Australian Amazon, got it next day. So last night I realised I don't have a screwdriver.
You don't have a screwdriver.
I had a whole set in my boot.
I'm gonna about 15?
Yeah,
all of different sizes.
I've got ones which have, like these ones here where you can fix like computer parts. I've also got some of the ones where you just put the heads on for putting together IKEA and different things like that. But I did have a full toolkit kind of thing in my boot originally, and what ended up happening was when we lived in Flemington, my car got broken into. They got into the undercover parking and they broke into 13 cars. And part of it was they took my backpack with all my D&D stuff in it, and they took the toolbox, and then they ended up using one of the screwdrivers to break the window about 4 down because their one actually bent. But it bent, and they left it there, and then I picked it up with a tissue and gave it to the cops. He's like, yeah, we might be able to get fingerprints off it. And they didn't catch the guy, which means they didn't even bother. They just went, it's too much effort. But yeah, then I realised I don't actually have a screwdriver, but I do have obviously like wrench, like the ones you put the screws in. I can't think of my name.
Yeah,
spanners. No, it was a spanner. And the spanner goes into it and goes over the little ball perfectly, and then all you do is lever it and it pops off. And I was like, sweet. So I managed to fix it in about 3 or 4 minutes. And I was feeling incredibly manly. And then I went upstairs and grabbed the cheesecake out of the freezer and ate an entire strawberry Sara Lee cheesecake because that's what men do.
Was that your reward for doing something that you watched on YouTube?
To be fair, though, I'd watched it like a week before, and then I had to wait for him to come through Amazon, and then I went upstairs to get some water after washing my hands. It took me longer to wash my hand that fixed it, and I'm like, and he was going to charge me $370 for that. I'm like, eat a dick, mate, eat a dick. But then I went upstairs for some water, and then I found the cheesecake, and I was like, I deserve a reward.
Yeah, I deserve a reward. It's a reward. It's like well, congratulations, Dez, on becoming manly and doing a mainstream job.
It's so funny too, though. Like the other day, I was pulling apart computers with the IT team and putting in like a whole new. We were re-put in the whole rack. My boss was away, so I got to play with IT, so I was all excited. And I'm just like, but yeah, and then I'm just like, I've got to do something manly. And it's like,
Did you have was there a little bit of extra strut in your walk?
Well, I didn't. I kind of more waddled upstairs and then went, I want water. And I was like, ooh, cheesecake in the freezer. I'll eat that.
Yeah, you mean you didn't pop open a whiskey and pour yourself a single shot and just...
No, man, I'm manly. I'm not that manly. Jesus Christ. No, I actually don't have any booze in this house. Like, I actually have to go next door to get booze because I don't actually keep booze in the house.
Well, that'll have to be fixed when I visit.
No, yeah, I'll be buying booze from next door, especially for you, which they've actually got a really good whiskey selection over there.
Oh, man, God forbid. Well, my week, apart from work, which has been manic, because obviously we've...
He's like a ball ache.
Oh, I have been mentally drained over the last. We've been a very busy week at work, which is fine, sort of thing. But one good thing that came out of this week, which randomly popped up on my Facebook feed, because occasionally, my Facebook feed does recommend something I want. Very rare. Let's be honest, very rare. But occasionally they hit the nail on the head, and. This time it was, Tenacious D's coming to New Zealand. And I was like,
oh, yes.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Because let's be honest, right? This is teenage Jordan's dream, right?
They're great.
I loved it. I got into Tenacious D early on, loved them, thought they were great and amazing. I know I could pretty much sing the entire first album from start to finish.
That's rather impressive.
It is no, it's not impressive. It's really bad. It's really bad.
I think we all went through that stage, though. Like, if I'm honest, like
we all did.
I got super lucky, and we got to see them in. They were the support act to the Foo Fighters when we went there, and at one stage there it was kind of funny. So obviously we're waiting for Dave Grohl. Some band came out, and I swear to God, they were some Aussie band, and you just got to give them an A for effort. Just because they to be fair, they tried hard, but like,
oh man, listen, we've all had, I mean, to be fair, you had Tenacious D opening for the Foo Fighters, the best band oh god, who would have been the best opening band for a bigger band? Oh, I know, the best one I had, it was in Manchester. It was Slipknot were opening for Papa Roach.
Oh, really?
Not even we're not talking a stadium either. We're talking in this sort of big theatre thing as well.
Oh, that's
It was epic. Obviously, I didn't even know who Slipknot was. I think that sorry, I did. I knew them the week before.
Fucking, can you imagine not knowing who Slipknot is and the motherfuckers come out here?
Because
you'd be like,
first, because in the UK they were obviously big in the States.
Yeah.
But they weren't. They had
They're pretty
just
big here, actually,
started
too.
reaching the shore, and what was that? Their debut song in Britain. It was like it came out the week before, and then we turned up because, of course, it's like Papa Roach. You don't know who the support act is back then.
yeah,
Nobody did. And it's like, oh, Slipknot, and I was like, there's all these other bands, and then it's Slipknot, and I'm like, I know Slipknot. Why do I know Slipknot? I know Slipknot. I can't think why. And of course, they open up with the number that I know, and I'm like, oh my God, I heard this last week. It's absolutely banger, and it was great.
But I must say,
and then Papa Roach came on, and then the drummer I think it was the drummer or the lead guitarist came on for one song from Slipknot to jam with them, and it was really good. It was fabulous. But yeah.
I could not imagine you not knowing Slipknot and having Slipknot walk out on stage. That would be kind of freaky.
It was just one of those sort of thing. I was like,
but we had
Slipknot. Slipknot, I know Slipknot.
But even the look of how they dress and how they come out, you would have just been like, what the friggin' hell? Like, to be fair, though, the four guys that came out were these four little kind of like blonde Aussie guys, and they tried their hardest, but they were horrible. Tenacious D came out, and to be fair, they probably did almost an album. Like, they genuinely did about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And then, obviously, Foo Fighters came out and did 3 hours. But the funniest thing that happened with our one was, we were on stage, and this guy gets up on stage, and Jack Black, and you can see him on the big screen, so there's big screens either side of the stage, and you can see him in the thing, and he's just playing, and he's singing, and he's just like looking like this. And you know how he makes really weird faces, and he's looking at this dude that's standing there going, yeah, and chanting next to him. So everybody thought it was part of the show, and it was just a thing. And then all of a sudden, he's playing, and then he finishes the line, and then obviously, what's his name starts playing, and the guy, and as he's playing, you see him turn around going, and he keeps playing, and then if security goes, you don't. Oh, crap. And they ran out and obviously tackled him and then took him off. And then the worst thing is they let him out, and then he went to go back to his seat, and security grabbed him and let him out of the whole stadium.
Ooh,
so he missed all the Foo Fighters. He was there for 3 songs of Tenacious D. But everybody thought it was part of the show because of how Jack Black acted. It was amazing.
Well, let's be honest. It's Jack Black, and he has previous, Oh God, I don't know. Have you ever seen when he did? He went on. I think it was it. What was it? It was like the X Factor, but it's for America. But it was called. What was it? Was it Pop Idol or something like that? It was the American version before Simon Cowell officially took over everything and rolled it into one. But basically, they had a celebrity version. They were raising money for charity and blah 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 X Y and Z. And of course, Jack Black's on, and he does his rendition of Seal's "A Kiss on a Rose."
Oh my God!
Which I'll tell you now is fantastic. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
But of course, the judges are like, Jack, honestly, it's the wrong song. Everything else. And blah blah blah, and they're being negative. And he says, "Listen, I appreciate that you're all that you think you're big. If Seal was here right now, he would tell me that was the best rendition he's ever heard." And of course, one of the judges said, "Well, funnily enough, I know Seal's in the audience." And he brings him down. He comes down, and he's like, "Seal, my man, listen, what did you think of Jack's audition?" He went, "Listen, I just have to say one thing. That was possibly the best rendition of my song ever." And then, of course, everyone loses their mind. Jack's running around all on the stage, and I was like, oh my God, yes. Because it's Jack Black, and I don't know what it is. He's just infectious. He's like a child with energy. You're like, yes.
It's amazing, though. But I must say, like, live, he is brilliant. Like, you obviously think, right, like, him being an actor and him, like, singing, and some of his singing you think is sometimes a bit overdone, or he's putting on a voice or something like that. Live, he sounds exactly the same. Like, there's no difference. And I was like, oh my God. And Kyle on the guitar is amazing. And then obviously having that and then leading that into the Foo Fighters, like to the point where I said to Jade, my friend who I was with, and I said to her, I'm like, listen, if that was just the concert that we had paid for, I would have been happy. Yeah, that was the support act.
Yeah, honestly, it is. But once I saw that ad pop up, I was like, ooh. But then I mentioned it to Elle, and Elle was like, well, that'd be good. But obviously, Elle, she's not massively into them. And she said, listen, I understand maybe you want to go. And I went, yes. And she went, I said, don't worry. I know
maybe,
I'm not going
woman?
with you. I said, but I know she doesn't want to go. That's fine. That's entirely fine. That's perfectly acceptable. I have no issue with that. Sort of thing. I'm willing to go on my own. But she's like, well, maybe, and she did. She brought up a good point. She went, is there anyone you know who might want to go? And I was like, maybe Dez. And then I was like, oh, actually, if they're coming here, if they're coming all the way to New Zealand, surely they're in Australia.
Yeah, they sold out.
Yeah. I literally looked it up. I was like, right, Melbourne to this to, there, click through, sold out. I was like,
What's
like,
weird? I'm meant to be.
perfect excuse for me to visit. I was livid.
Damn it!
Absolutely livid.
Well, I must say, I'm still tempted to maybe even just try to come and see what happens. Like, I don't know. Like, it is weird. Like, so I've got a friend that's asked me to come up to Brisbane for his birthday. So Andy, for his birthday, and I was like, I'm tempted to because I haven't seen him in ages. It'd be good to see him, and I realised that it's about $500-600 still to get up there. It worked out the cheapest I could find was about 200. I think it was 212, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, to get to New Zealand, it's only about 300 to 400, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, how is it cheaper for me to go?
Is it for you to fly to see me than it is to go?
Like, it's almost the same, and I was like, what the hell? That can't be real.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But literally, I was like, oh, great, well, I'll see. And then obviously I messaged you, and I was like, oh, no. And then, funnily enough, I knew a guy I used to work with for my old job. I know he's a big Tenacious D fan, because obviously we went to karaoke one night, and I started singing it, and he's all over the mic with me. So I'm like, yes.
God help us.
Mike brother. I messaged him, and he was like, oh, I would love to, but I won't be able to. And I went, why? What good excuse do you have? He went, we're going to be having a kid. And I was like, God damn it.
That's a pretty good reason.
As excuses go. Oh, yeah, the missus is about to drop one.
You're like,
anyway.
yeah, I can't do that right now. Yeah,
the problem is I'm married to a midwife. I can't argue that. Am
Yeah.
I? No, we can't argue that. Absolutely not.
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form can I argue that. So anyhow.
Okay, so just while you were talking, I did do some research. So, for example, I've just searched on skyscanner.com. From
The
Melbourne
most legit
to Brisbane,
website known to man.
yeah, from Melbourne to Brisbane on I said the 12th of July to the 14th of July because I think you said the concert was on in July.
It was.
I just picked a random date in July. It's going to cost me $384 to go to Brisbane. To go to Auckland, it's going to cost me $484. It's $100 different for me to leave the goddamn country.
Okay. Jesus.
I'm like, how?
See, Brisbane. Hang on. Right.
It's
Brisbane is the 18th of July. Yeah. What a good guess.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that was a.
It is.
Well, no, because Andy wants me to come up for his birthday, which is I think is in April. But I'm just like, when I searched it, it was like $428 or something. I'm like, so how is it cheaper for me to fly to Auckland than it is to me to fly to Brisbane? One's a 4-hour flight, one's a 2-hour flight.
Honestly, I don't understand with Australia sometimes. To be fair though, it happens with New Zealand as well. Sometimes I've looked at the flight prices when I want to fly into Ireland, and it's just like, what? It cost me that much? Why? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, remember when COVID happened? So when I had COVID, I was working at a company, and the CEO didn't want to go into lockdown, so he constantly escaped to Brisbane. Then what he would do is he would come back to Melbourne when we needed him for something, or when he desperately needed to be here, and he'd come for here while we had that little break in COVID for a couple of weeks, and then they found out they were going to lock it down. So literally, he stopped everything we were doing to look for flights for him back to Brisbane on that day because he needed to get out of Melbourne no matter what. And he didn't want to. And obviously they said to it, we're closing the airport at 8:00 or whatever it was. So we had to find flights to the point where at one point I made a joke saying I found a flight, but it goes Melbourne to Christchurch to Brisbane, and he's like, book it. because we'd been trying 40 minutes and nobody had found anything domestic, so I decided to look international, and I managed to find him the last flight. And
so you could fly out to
and sure enough, he flew to 4 hours or 3.5 hours to Christchurch, and then 3.5 hours or 4 hours back to Brisbane, just so he didn't go into lockdown.
I mean, that's dedication, that is, quite frankly.
That's
God,
also $1,100.
I mean, there is that factor as well, let's be honest. But yeah, God forbid. Yeah. No, I've just looked at the touring website who Tenacious are going with, which is Frontier Touring. I've just had a look. So Sydney on the 13th is free, and Brisbane is free, and Adelaide in Australia.
When is the Auckland one? What date?
Auckland is the 26th of July.
Okay, let's have a look.
Sort of
Let's see what happens.
Because to be fair, it's one thing I was shocked to find out that Jack Black was in the country a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
With Jason Momoa. Yeah, because they were doing the Minecraft movie together.
Really?
Yes, I know. This is the thing. I was like, hang on a minute. Whoa. There's a Minecraft movie. That was shocking, number one. But number two is Jason Momoa and Jack Black are
in the Minecraft movie. That's...
I honestly, that's kind of a trailer I can't wait to watch. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to watch.
Well, weirdly,
anyway.
if I fly out on Thursday the 25th of July, it would cost me $367.
Okay, so $367. Land, just come stay with me for the night. We go up, go to the concert. We'll stay in a hotel.
Hello. Dorks Under Covers, it's going to be called this episode. Hello. Let's get it on. That's what you want.
But yeah, so that could be an option. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was really tempted to go down to Wellington, which is midweek. Wellington's on the Wednesday, and I was like, ooh, go down to Wellington, go midweek concert.
Why don't you talk to your work and just go, hey, bro, what's the chances?
There is, well, no, I'd have to book a couple of annual leave days for that, which is fine. But it's like a Friday is easier to sort of do logically, sort of thing. So yeah, anyway.
Sad news. Unless I'm getting there at like midnight, the cost is probably going to be closer to $509.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
That being said,
anyway, it was a pipe dream. It was just a random thing that Elle said. He said, "Would Dez be interested?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sure Dez would be, but I'll message him and see what's going on." And it's literally when I looked up and I was like, "Oh, they're sold out in Melbourne. I can't even justify going over. I'm livid." So Tenacious D, can't wait. I'm debating if I'm going to go or not, but I'm just waiting to see if there's anyone who's free to go with me, but I'll probably end up just going by myself because I don't care. I don't care. This is living Teenage Jordan's dream because he never got to go to Tenacious D.
Amen to that. I've gone to concerts alone, and I think it's great. Like weirdly when I was in, especially when I lived in London. When I was in London, I went to concerts a lot by myself because at the time, though I had friends, we all kind of worked and lived in the same pub, so it was always hard. But like I went to see Usher, which was the first concert I ever saw because I don't care, man. I like him. Pay me.
Did you enjoy his Super Bowl performance?
I haven't actually seen it yet. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
Don't know. Put you back out.
Really? Yeah. Just going to be sitting there going...
Oh my god, there are so many memes that I saw literally the next day.
When you can't find your phone and he's like...
It was that. It was the fact is the 30-year-old women walking into the chiropractor's office. So what made you need to come see me today? Full halftime.
Well, it's true, 100%. And I'm like, I'm all for it. But like, it is very weird. So I went to see Usher because I was like... I really want to see him. I've seen him once before in Australia, and he was amazing live. I happen to have the day off. I don't have any plans. I'll go see him. And then I was like, no, because it's probably going to be stupidly expensive. Like, back home, I'm pretty sure I paid like $120 to see him. And I was like, yeah, it's not worth it. And this is back in 2003, 2004. And I was like, yeah. And it was at the new O2 Arena. That's how long ago it was. The new O2 Arena had only just opened.
But the
sorry, no, my apologies. It was the last concert the first concert at the new Wembley. My apologies, not the O2. So that's how long ago it was. And I went online, and the ticket was £27 and 50p. And I'm like,
Jesus,
that can't be right.
That doesn't seem
I
right.
swear on my life, that's what I paid. To be fair, I didn't get the best seats, obviously, but I'm like, that's sick. And as it worked out, because I was on the side stage, I was actually closer than some of the people that paid a fortune towards the back of the sitting area. And I was like, I'm okay with that. Moving forward, in London, I always booked those seats where I was the front of the row on the side and I could see them perfectly. But I went to see them. I saw The Disturbed. I saw... Who else did I see? I saw Narkill. And I saw all these bands there, which is funny because when you have a look at the bands that I have seen, it is random. At one point then, it was Boyz II Men, Foo Fighters, The Disturbed. I don't give a fuck. I love Boyz II Men. Suck a dick.
You actually paid money to go watch that?
I was 3 rows from the front.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I had a friend that worked in the industry and asked me if I wanted to go, and I said, hell's yeah. And then he got me tickets 3 rows in the front. But I had them. I had The Disturbed. I have Trivium. I saw Norah Jones, and then I saw the Foo Fighters and Tenacious D. And those were the 5 concerts that I'd been to, and people were like, what kind of music you're into? Like, just everything. Leave me alone, I'm a child.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean, God forbid. I'm about to say, my first concert was Limp Bizkit, 1998 tour. That was in Manchester Evening Rosary. First concert. Oh, my mind was blown. Then it was Korn after that, which Korn is an experience.
Yeah,
to go
100%.
To. They are. And then it was Papa Roach with Slipknot supporting.
That's so
and
random.
Then, which was great. And then, what was the next one? Oh God, probably there's some random ones after that. But then the next big one was when my mum was running. She was a club house manager of a golf course back where we lived, and one of the guys who attended and who was regular on the scene. He heard me listening to the Lost Prophets album, one of the Lost Prophets album, and he was like, "Oh, my daughter is the manager of them." And I was like,
"What?
Yeah, of course he is. Of course she is. Yeah, no worries." Not believing him whatsoever. And then I was like, "Oh yeah," I said, "It's a shame I missed out on tickets." And you went, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh well, I know they're doing touring and they're coming to our city, and I missed out." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Literally came into work the next week, and there's an envelope behind, and it's 2 VIP tickets to go see them, and everything else. They're coming, the local thing. His daughter has dropped them off personally, and everything else. And there's no money, no exchanging of anything. And I'm like, oh God, he wasn't lying. And
holy crap!
Best bit, do you know the worst? The best/worst thing of it was, right? My best friend was also a massive Lost Prophets fan, right? That week that they're coming to our county, he's on holiday.
Oh
so
no!
I've got a spare VIP ticket, so I invite our other friend who's not a huge fan, and he found out he was. I didn't tell him because I know the second he found out he was going to lose his mind
and probably murder your soul.
And probably murder me. So, it was easier not to tell him. So, obviously, I waited until he was about, 2-3 days into his holiday, and it's like the day before I'm going, and I said, "Oh, FYI, I got some VIP tickets to go see the Lost Prophets, by the way, just FYI." At which point, my phone started blowing up. He was not happy. Understandably, he was livid.
Oh my God.
And so,
I can't
and
believe
of course, and what I should have done, looking back and reflection, what I should have done, be the bigger person and everything else. I should have gone to the concert, enjoy myself, just be nice and be playful. I got to meet the band, I got to shake their hands and everything else. It was great. It was fabulous.
Tell me you couldn't even video call him because it probably wasn't even around then, was it?
No, I recorded an entire video of me speaking with the band members and got them to say something to him and told him that he's an idiot and then sent it to him.
Oh my God!
He literally turned up he pulled up into the parking lot at school, and he pulled up and he was like, "We're gonna have words." I was like,
more than freaking words.
I said, "Listen, we can have words when you catch my ass." And I ran. I literally ran.
Oh my God!
And he chased me. God forbid, it was literally. It was not. Yeah, he was livid.
That would have. Oh man, that would have broken my soul.
I got swag. I got so much swag from that. I've actually still got the swag. I've got like an entire. I've got the Lost Prophets vinyl and everything else with signatures and posters and everything else.
My God.
Yeah. He was not happy. He was livid.
I can imagine.
Anyway, so that was concerts. Looking forward to upcoming concerts. But apart from that, the only other thing I've booked recently, funnily enough, is the darts. Because
yes, my brother goes to that
shit.
all the time, and he is obsessed.
Like, listen, right? Okay, I am not obsessed by the darts, right? Okay, I don't follow it. I don't do anything else. But it's just a thing that when I used to go home, especially when we'd go home and visit my dad, we'd go down to Labour Club. The darts would be on. And it's really infectious.
But if FYI,
it's like a virus. You suddenly get into it and you're watching it, and then the bloody do starts, and you just can't help yourself.
I was going to say, FYI, when I did say obsessed with it, he's not obsessed with the actual darts. He just likes drinking, being a rowdy, and yelling the phrase 180. And
180!
I swear to God, like he's watched it a few times, and then a friend from work took him, and he's like, all you do is you get blind drunk, you become as rowdy as fuck, and you just scream out and just go with the crowd. He goes, 9 times out of 10, you're sitting at a table so far back that you can't even see what is happening, but you just catch the vibe of what everybody else is doing, and it just goes. And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, literally, I booked the darts for me and Elle, so me and Elle are going.
That's
and
awesome.
we're not on the tables, but we are literally on the floor at the first set of rows and stuff like that, so we've got a good view of the thing and everything else. We're going to have a great time. I'm looking forward to it. We're going for the experience. That's all we're going for. Looking forward to it. But anyway, should we get round to talking about movie trailers? What we're actually going to talk about. So, hit me, G.
So obviously, myself, my old housemate Zoe, and her boyfriend Princess were massive fans of Borderlands, to the point where what would often happen is I would start playing, Zoe's like, I would play, and then Princess would get annoyed that he can't actually play because there's only obviously 2 players. Borderlands 2 was obsessed with it. And I love Borderlands 1, but when it moved to Borderlands 2, there was just something special. Like, to the point where 3 was great, Tiny Tina was good, the pre-sequel was average, but there was something beautiful about 2, where everything just seemed to click. And then what would happen is Zoe would play I could almost time it, 8 minutes and 12 seconds before she'd start getting motion sickness. And then she'd start getting a headache and go like, I've got to go lie down. So she'd go lie down, and which normally meant that she'd sleep for the night. Princess would jump on about 8 seconds later, and then we would play all night, to the point where she'd wake up and she goes, "Are you guys still playing?" I was like, "Oh no, I woke up early, and I think Princess heard me flush the toilet, so he came out and we just started playing like 5 minutes ago." Really, haven't slept at all. So this is a movie that I'm hopefully going to see with the 2 of them. Obviously, Zoe and Princess no longer dating, but they are still great friends, and I would love to see this with them. And when this first came out, there was a teaser trailer of about, I'd say, 30 seconds, and most of it was just the characters, where it was like Kate Blanchett as Lilith, who's like the siren, this South American looking girl as Tiny Tina, Jack Black as Claptrap, and I was like, what? Like, I love Claptrap. In there was the most annoying character that you came to love. He was like the gnat in your ear that you just wanted, like, you wished you could shoot, but for some reason.
But listen, every game has it. Hell,
yeah, but
I'm sure PTSD wise, we can speak about the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Navi.
Yes.
Hey!
But it was like that. But the problem was he was just there always, and it was just on. And they said Jack Black, and I was like, because I'm like, you had such a great actor doing the voice in the actual movie. Why not just get the guy that does the voice? Then Roland, who is like the commander of Pandora, where it's set, who's this big black dude, who's played by Kevin Hart. I'm like, but he's so weirdo.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I did think, because I am right. Okay, I've never played the Borderlands game, but I am aware of the lore. It's one of these weird situations I'm in, so I'm roughly aware of how Borderlands works.
Yeah,
and it's like when I heard Roland, and I'm like, okay, Roland, and then it shows Kevin Hart, and I'm like, Like Kevin Hart.
We couldn't.
Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart.
We couldn't have got Kevin
Oh,
Hart's
Kevin.
best friend. Like, he's probably more Rolandish than him.
Yes. No. If you know, I'm actually. Let's be honest. Can we say that we're not surprised that Kevin Hart's best friend, aka Dwayne Johnson, isn't in this movie?
To be fair, I have actually looked to see if he does make an appearance, and it isn't here. But that being said, though, if you're not going to give it to him, we also have obviously Jamie Lee Curtis, who is a legend of the industry, who is playing, I think it's Tennis, who obviously was a gentleman in the game and kind of like the professor. And then you have this dude playing Crom, and Crom was actually a DLC from the original Borderlands 2, that he was actually one of the psychos that decided that he wanted to be good. And the dude
He's
playing...
the guy with the mask, isn't he?
The dude with like the weird hockey mask with the actual Borderlands symbol on it.
Yeah.
And
he does that. The classic image is this, isn't it?
100%. And he's 10 Shades of Crazy. And this is a dude that is actually played by an actual person. When I first saw him, like the way he is defined and ripped, and in the video game he has quite large shoulders and quite narrow hips. And they've actually got this guy called, I'm going to say Olivier
Richters.
Yeah, we'll go with that because I can't talk. And he was in Black Widow as Ursa Minor. And he is this kind of like this Dutch giant, to the point where he was one of the dudes at the start of Black Widow. He's been in a few things, and he's a bodybuilder / actor. And you see him in this film, and he is ripped to the shithouse. And one character that I was hoping would be in it, which is probably everybody's Borderlands crush, other than probably Tiny Tina, which is kind of weird because everyone loved Tiny Tina, but in the game Tiny Tina was like 13, because my friend's like, oh my god, I love Tiny Tina, I want to find a girl like her. I'm like, but the problem is you know how you said the word girl? There's the problem, she's about 13. But there was the buxom Moxie, who obviously works at the bar, normally had stuff that barely covered her, quite busted lady in a white face paint with this purple dress on. And I kind of don't hate who they've got. So they've got, I'm going to probably mess up her name, but it's Gina Gerson. Gerson? Gershon.
Moxie, hang on. Yeah, Gina Gershon.
Yeah, so she obviously has done a lot of things in the early 90s, 2000. She was in things like Face Off, and Showgirls, another great film. Quality drama. But
it's great. It's a great cinema piece. Fabulous, great photography.
Yeah, very, very good cinematography. But yeah, so she was in like things like Face Off, and you would recognise her if you knew her. And I like it because in it, Moxie isn't this like 20-something buxom thingo. She's an older woman that's seen a little bit more, and I kind of like that they've kept true to that. Because weirdly, and I must say, she looks amazing for her age. She's actually 61.
I just realised that myself. I'm looking at the photos. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, so she has obviously had a little bit of enhancements.
Don't get me wrong. She has. I mean, you can tell she's had a bit of work, but I wouldn't say she's 60.
Yeah, but yeah, she definitely doesn't look 60. But it does very much fit the character. And I kind of love that they've kind of done that and actually gone with a more older person, because that's who she was. She was somebody. She did look like she was somebody in her 40s or late 40s, and I kind of like this for it. But yeah, and I must say, when I saw I think I sent you the first like 30-second teaser trailer, and I was like, oh, well, this looks kind of weird. Like I wasn't sure about Cate Blanchett and stuff. But having, and then also hearing that the director is Eli Roth, who has mostly done horror films. He's done things like Hostel. The new one he just did was Thanksgiving, which weirdly also had Gina in it, and is actually a ridiculously good film. If you get a chance, go watch Thanksgiving. Just a dude killing people with an axe with the Thanksgiving mask on. Kind of awesome. Go see it. But yeah, and he's mostly done horror. So when they gave him Borderlands, I was like, okay. And obviously this is coming from the same studio as obviously Uncharted, Spider-Man, Venom, and that kind of thing. But one thing that did shock me is that I saw one of the pieces of art, and it says the first movie in the Borderlands cinematic universe.
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting.
So obviously, if anyone has played the first game, Lilith and Roland play quite pivotal parts. They're a part of they're part of the original characters you play. In the second one, they're more side characters. So you meet up with them in certain cities and you can talk to them, but they don't play a big role. And there's a second, like, a lot of characters that you can play. Yeah. There happens to be an actress that doesn't have a name on IMDb of what she's playing, which is Haley Bennett, who's been in quite a few films, probably most known for Weirdly Swallow, that has actually won quite a few awards and a few things, and she's actually the unnamed character. So I'm wondering if she is meant to play this kind of almost like player character, because obviously when you play, you play as one of these things.
So basically she's the player character that you are in the game the majority of the time. Yeah,
and it's going to. I think it's going to be an unnamed character, and I have the feeling that depending on how this movie goes, I think that, like obviously you've seen the Marvel Universe, she's going to be one of the pivotal players that they move forward on. So I do have, like, watching the teaser trailer, I was just like, watching the full trailer and seeing some of the vehicles that you see and seeing the way they've shot it and stuff, I'm like, like I was like, I'm actually.
It does seem like a. I mean, I know that the game is a parody of Mad Max. Realistically, it's not a full parody of Mad Max, but it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek version. Yeah. And quite frankly, I think that the trailer does do it justice. Yeah. As that sort of, we're Mad Max, but we're not.
But there's also that comedy element that also is there in the games. It is funny because the guys that originally made the game, especially the third one and the pre-sequel, because it was made in Australia, they've used a lot of Australian voice actors. So especially if they go down that line, a lot of those pre-sequel and a lot of that third Borderlands did have a lot of Australians in it. So it kind of went, screw it, we're just going full Mad Max. But I must say, the teaser, I would have been saying completely different things about it. After seeing the trailer, I'm like, I'm willing to give this a chance. Like, to the point where, and this is going to, after last week's one, I may actually see this at the movies.
Ooh, that's a bold statement. That's a very big bold.
That's a bold statement, Carton.
And now I want to divert into the trailer I want to talk about, which is I literally saw the latest trailer this week for Kong Godzilla New Empire,
where he's got like a metal arm.
Oh yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, generally most of the time I'm avoiding the cinema, but I kind of know I need to see the new Godzilla movie at the cinema.
Yeah, it's called Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
The New Empire. So basically, in a nutshell, I literally, someone posted up the other day on TikTok and talked about the amount, because obviously, like, let's be honest, we're going to watch these kaiju movies because we want to see big monsters fighting. Let's be honest, right? Okay. Now, generally, most of the time, you get a little bit of fighting here, there, and everywhere, and then you get a big penultimate fight, right? From what I understand of this new movie, we're getting a ton of fighting. We're getting Godzilla versus Scylla, and we get that. We get the Kong versus the apes down, the evil orangutan down under. In the new world, and then they come up, and then apparently we get Ice Godzilla, who's called Shino or something like that, who caused the original Ice Age. We're getting this. By the sounds of it, this movie's just mainly, let's just have massive monsters fighting a lot of the time. It's like and I actually want to go watch. Yeah, and this sounds great. It sounds so good. I am signed up. The fact is that we've got Godzilla and Kong have to team up. And the fact that Kong has a mechanical arm in it.
That one's a bit weird.
He doesn't have a mechanical arm. They've allowed him to adapt and basically put on like a I don't know. How would you describe it? It's like a Falcon Punch robot arm.
Well, no,
it looks really cool.
Because looking at it, it looks like his arm does get actually, like, I think in the trailer, it looks like his arm either gets damaged or something like that, and it looks like one of those big, those big mechanical.
It's like an exoskeleton thing,
but
isn't
like,
it?
yeah, but like you know when you get those knee braces and you've got that big ball on either side and the big strap, it's got that, and then obviously it's got his fingers that go into it. So it's almost like his arm's a bit weak, and they've put a brace on him so he's able to use it. But then all it's given him is this massive kind of like awesomeness.
But honestly, I'm on board. It just looks cool, and the fact is, don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it from going from chunky Godzilla to Godzilla King of the Monsters to Godzilla vs Kong, which was great anyway, sort of thing. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the Kong movie. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I get that they needed to have Godzilla vs Kong at some point.
I still like as I like to call him Thickzilla.
Hey, right, okay. It was literally, it did look like it's hilarious when you watch between the first Godzilla movie and Godzilla King of the Monsters, and basically he hit the gym.
That boy was thick.
You know, he was obviously a bit out of shape. He just got off the couch, and then he's like, oh, maybe I need to hit the rack a little bit, you know, and put something on. And then the second movie is just completely different. And this one, he obviously, like, he's got even a different look in this one. And I believe they're going down the thing of the Godzilla's evolving, I think, maybe, possibly, because of obviously what happened to heal him with the nuclear bomb and everything else.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So I think they might be doing that line still, possibly. But it's going to be really interesting.
I must say, though, those Kong films...
I do feel like that this is a cinema movie. I've got a feeling that I need to watch this in big screen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it might have to be a date. I might even have to splash money out for a date night here. That might be a problem.
I was going to say,
Although
if it's coming out in July, I'll gladly see it with you.
Fine, you fly over.
I'll fly over just to see Kong versus Thingo and see Tenacious D.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds fabulous. What's wrong with that?
It doesn't sound ridiculous in any shape.
It doesn't sound ridiculous. That sounds completely fine, and you know it does.
I know it does. I'm just trying to figure out where the stadium is so I can find a hotel.
I know where the stadium is. It's literally in CBD. In fact, I was looking at hotels before I was hanging out with you.
Well, that's funny, yes.
Funnily enough, I'll say it was just one of those sort of weird things. But yeah, but honestly, the new Godzilla 8, I'm very much on board with that. To be fair, the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is looking okay as well.
I don't know. I kind of
dubious. I'm very dubious because I've not been sold on the remakes. I love the originals, and the remakes haven't. You know, I'm not riding off into the sunset with it, sort of thing. So
I don't know. I think for me, the Planet of the Apes kind of went like the way of Marvel. Like it got to where I was finished enjoying it, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, funnily enough, the Super Bowl weekend, we didn't discuss. Did you see the sequel that we're finally getting to Twister?
I'm so on board for that. I love the first Twister to the point where I reckon in the last probably I know I watched it twice during COVID, and we were in COVID for 8-9 months. We watched it once, I think it was when we first moved into this house, which we've been here about 2.5 years, and we watched it once probably about a month ago. I love Twister.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Twister. It's just that when we're finally getting a sequel after, 20 odd years?
1997 it was.
It's like, really, are we going down the sequel route of movies that don't need a sequel? You know,
100%.
It is ridiculous. But to be fair, funnily enough, my wife put me on to another one as well. Now that we're discussing movie trailers, which is because of course we've been reading a book series. We've read a book series called The Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, which is
that's the one that I downloaded that you got me to download.
Yeah, which is like I quite enjoyed that actually. It was quite a good one. And my wife put me on to, because it popped up on her TikTok feed called Damsel.
Oh,
it's
yes.
a Netflix. With Lasso, who plays number 8.
Yeah,
Out of,
Billy Bobby Brown or something, whatever her name is.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, that's right.
There we go.
I knew Bobby Brown was in it. My prerogative, can't you see, baby doll?
But yeah, so
Sorry.
basically she's a princess who gets given to a dragon to be a sacrifice, but then or something or other, and then it becomes, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird, but it looks quite good. It does. Literally, you look at it and you're like, I kind of want to watch it. I really do.
Because
But it looks like such a.
Because I think it is. It's weird. I think it's like this princess that just doesn't want to be a princess and just wants to be a badass adventurer.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Much, yeah, it's a bit weird. But yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so it looks like we're actually going to get a decent 2024 in terms of movies, which I'm kind of. I mean, not to mention, obviously, we've got our favourite movie's going to be coming out this year, which is definitely, I'm going to the cinema to watch it, which is Deadpool 3.
No.
No.
I was going to say,
There's no pirating that greatness that is going to be that sort of thing. I am booking tickets the second it's open.
Yeah.
I am taking the wife. I'm going to see if I can find a babysitter, because obviously I already know it's not going to be age appropriate for a certain sort of.
He's like, I'm looking for a babysitter. If we can't find a babysitter, I'm going by myself. I don't care. I want to see Papa Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
I'm already under instruction that I'm not allowed to watch it unless she's going as well.
So who's her favourite? Big Papa Reynolds or Hugh Jackman?
Oh, come on. It's from back in the day, Hugh Jackman, isn't it? I mean, God forbid. I mean, and especially as he was in Les Mis.
I won't lie though, that is a beautiful story. I'm a massive fan of Les Mis. I think I've seen it on the London West End and I've seen it here, and it is gorgeous. Yes, I know I sound gay as hell, but I don't care. I'm a thespian, baby, thespian.
It's not that. It's I've never watched it, never seen it.
Oh my God. He's like, I'm so English and I hate the French so much because I'm English that I won't see Les Mis. Straight up is the reason, 100%.
Why'd you have to call me out like that? What is this? What have I done? What have I hurt you or something?
It's so accurate though, because my friends are the same. One of my friends who I went to.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? How absolutely dare you,
but
sir?
It was funny too though, because when I was working in London, I said to a friend, I'm like, I'm going to see Les Mis. And he's like, oh, that shit's rubbish. I was like, have you seen it? He's like, no, it's about those French though. I don't want to see it. And I'm like, so for your hatred of the French, you're legitimately not going to see it? And he's like, 100%. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I have to ask you. So there was one trailer that I saw that I didn't realise what it was at first, and it's just come to mind. So if anybody's seen this trailer, it's like this badass action movie, but then it has the guy from Bob's Burgers or Archer being the narrator. Have you seen this? So you know Bill Skarsgård, the dude that does It and stuff. He's in a new movie called Boy Kills World, and in it he's like this badass, like he's doing karate and different stuff, but he's mute, and the voice inside of his head sounds like Bob's Burger or Archer.
No, I saw the trailer for this literally last night.
It looks
so stupid.
It looks sick. Like, it kind of looks like what would happen if you got, like, obviously, like, what's his name? Like Ted and John Wick, and put them together. Because it's kind of got this narrative of Bob's Burgers with this very lean, very muscular Bill Skarsgård just destroying everybody. So it's kind of got that John Wick feel, but then this kind of like almost very comical voice inside of his head. And I kind of think that it's one of those films that I feel like could be one of those, you know how some films surprise you and there's some of those outliers that you're like,
It does feel, literally, after watching the trailer literally last night, I was like, this has the potential to be one of those cult classics.
Yeah.
You know, literally, like, we're like talking in 20 years' time, and it's being taught as a cult classic in English or whatever.
But not French, fuck the French.
But you know what I mean?
Shout out to all our French listeners. I don't know if there's any.
No, we're not having a shout out to the French listeners. Anyway.
You're New Zealand now.
I know. Honestly, I tell you what, the amount of French people that I've seen parking up at the Freedom campsite is unreal. So I think you can hear them and everything else, and it's just like they're all over here visiting. They're raiding the country. Nah, it's fine. We don't mind the French.
And
Anyway,
one more thing that I do want to add.
come on, one more thing before
Obviously,
we wrap up.
we did have an episode about this that actually was probably one of our most viewed episodes on YouTube, which was One Punch Man. No,
One Piece.
One Piece. Have you seen the trailer? And I think it got released yesterday or the day before. The new anime turned live action that they've done.
No.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh no! Right. Okay. No. I'll tell a lie. Right, okay. I'm aware of the reviews of "It's a beautiful mistake." It's a quote
really?
that's been said. Oh my lord! You should say. People are not happy. They are livid. It's not pretty. The reviews online, from what I've said, because I've never got. Obviously, I missed Avatar. I was too old for it. I kind of skated by Avatar. Like Naruto, I was too. I came in. I was past it at that point. And I was like, but I watched the first movie, the original cinematic one. It was all right. I'm aware of what Avatar is and the story, and it was like, I kind of understand that people weren't happy. Again, completely get it. And then everyone had high hope. I was aware that everyone had high hopes because it's a Netflix series, and everyone had major hopes for it. And yeah, the fact that I've seen the words that it is a beautifully visual mistake. It's like. Ooh, that's cutting. That's really.
Well, what's weird though is that I don't know. So the movie on Rotten Tomato has 5%. From critics, and then the audience have given
the original.
Yeah, the original movie, and then the audience has given it slightly higher at 30%. But the Netflix series actually has a 60% from critics and a 75% audience.
Oh, okay. All right. So maybe it's not as bad as what it's been portrayed so far. So maybe, do you feel like we need to have a watch party and crack on and
I don't know.
Come back with our review?
It has me interested because I watched the movie and I'm like, I felt like the movie, there was so much there that could have been good. Mm-hmm. But
that's a big but the way you just said that.
Like, I don't know, like I love the idea of having the power of the elements, and I felt like it was cool. I felt like some of the special effects were okay, but the actors were just like, it was horrid. But yeah, I mean, according to this, Rotten Tomatoes says it isn't perfect, but it's respectable of the original, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Okay, all right. So maybe by next week we need to have a watch of a couple of episodes, and we'll make our mind up.
Well, considering obviously they had Death Note and Cowboy Bebop that did horrid.
Oh yeah,
I haven't actually seen any of those. I've seen the original Japanese Death Note, but I haven't seen that. Right. And then obviously One Piece went bananas. So
right.
I'm like,
the Death Note one, I kind of understand the hate that it gets because, of course, they Americanized it, and I get it. Fine, completely understand. The Cowboy Bebop one, we can just skip over because I tried watching it. I loved Cowboy Bebop when I was younger.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that to me. Yeah. That they reckon they were so excited for it and they loved it and they were...
Yeah, it did not hit the same note at all. It just, I don't know what it was, it just did not. It was like, I think the problem is that great Cowboy Bebop live action, I think we were all aiming here, we were all up here, and it delivered here, and it was like, and but that's the problem. That's the problem when you got a fan base, It's like if they, it's like the when they brought out the Dragon Ball movie. Again, fan base, we're all up here, and they delivered like below the floor, quite frankly, on that crap.
But yeah, no, it is weird because some of these reviews are actually saying it's a great first season, and it has a firm foundation to build off of. But the problem, which I think, okay, cool. The problem with Netflix though is even if they have a firm foundation, or even if they have amazing reviews, they do have a habit of just going snip and cutting stuff way too early. Like I feel like with Netflix, in the first 3 weeks, if they hasn't got the views that they want, they'll literally just go, yeah, cool, it's axed. And that is one thing that kills me about Netflix, because especially with Netflix and these streaming services, some of these things are going to be a slightly slower burn. Like, I just wish rather than making it like the first few weeks, they gave it a couple of months, a year. Like, I know they at one point then they've cancelled Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And they went, this is going to be the final series. And I actually like that show. I think it's a great show. It helps a lot of people. I think Karamo's in the first 2 series was amazing. Then after that,
sorry, do I need to sign you up?
and then the last few, he's just kind of became very preachy, and it just feels very forced. And I'm like, I wish he went back to that. But I'm like, that's cool. Mm-hmm. But supposedly they axed it after this final series. So obviously then Bobby, who does a lot of the design, who doesn't get seen much, started his own business, started his own range of homeware, started all this business, and then they've gone, oh, actually, we've decided we're going to bring it back because this last season's actually done really well. So unfortunately, Bobby's in the middle of trying to build this empire, and he's like, okay, I can come back, but I need at least X amount of time off, and they've gone, no. So they're actually going to bring it back with 4 of them and try to find a new 5th.
Which won't work, as we've seen many a time. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. Firstly, we want to say a big thank you to all our followers and all our subscribers. Remember that you can find us available on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe whatever platform you're on. All that does help in the background. It's really good. And apart from that, obviously you can also follow us on TikTok and X at Dorks Down Under. And apart from that, we obviously are going to sign off for this week, which is episode 6 of season 3. We will.
In theory. And remember to like this video, because if this gets 30,000 likes, we'll start at OnlyFans. I saw that in a video I watched where they went, if this gets 30,000 likes, I'll do X. I'm like, if this gets 30,000 likes, we'll start at OnlyFans.
Des is not allowed to talk anymore in the outro. We were just going to say goodbye, Des. Aren't we? Goodbye, Des. Bye, Des. Bye, Des. Bye, everyone.